Hello and welcome to another episode of Guiding You Home. My name's Travis Savla and I'm joined by Senior Guapo, Mr. Jeffrey Landon.
Hey, buddy.
Number one. How you doing?
Good. Hey, Bobby. How you doing?
Hi, I'm well. Happy to be here.
Well, today, you're not going to be happy for very long.
Nope. Downhill from here.
The honest forecast.
Honest, yeah, we're going to look at a little bit of a 2024 recap, but we're going to give you honest feedback of what we think might happen in 2025. We won't say now, but we will at the end talk about where we think interest rates are going. So stick around till the end. This is the brutal truth, man.
Booyah.
Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Guiding You Home. Today's episode is brought to you by Landmark Real Estate Group. Jeff, let's talk buyer's consults.
And Travis, we love buyer's consults. And the reason why is we have so many people that come to us that are frustrated, tired of looking for homes and not getting the homes that they want. A lot of times people try to do it on their own, or they've been working with a professional that hasn't really given them the resources they need to achieve home ownership. We do things a little bit differently, or maybe a lot differently here at Landmark Group. We provide them with a program called Home Hunter that we've worked very hard to put together, ensuring that they reach their success in home ownership needs. So if you're looking to buy a home today and you want a professional that will get you the home that you've been looking for, call us at 805-904-0012. We look forward to helping and serving you.
Okay. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, what's up, brother?
How you doing?
Good.
Bobby.
Yo.
We're going to talk about a recap of 2024 and a look forward to 2025. Jeff is in his Christmas sweater.
Wearing
is
a
that a llama?
We
What is
didn't get
it?
the memo.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, we didn't.
We look really boring compared to him.
I know.
so.
Super. Although we're coordinated.
We are.
Yeah, that's good.
We always do our best.
So yeah, we're going to chat a little bit. Let's start with 2024. How was it? How was it for you, Bobby? Professionally.
Oh, I was like, get comfortable.
Yeah.
2024, I think, was a great year on a lot of fronts. It could have been better if we had more homes to sell. I'm definitely bummed. We had a few little moments this last year that we really thought we were going to take off. It looked promising and we stayed pretty steady. So, I'm not going to complain about it, but I really hope more next year.
How do you feel, you're the team lead at Keller Williams. How's just morale been? And we've got such a good group. They're so fun. But how are you feeling everyone's doing? Transactions are down. We'll get to that. But how's the vibe?
We do have a great group. We're really lucky because we're in business with a lot of the top realtors. So I think we have a little bit of a rose-colored view of what's actually going on. But the truth is this is a tough year. It was, sales are down, business is down for realtors in general. And I think if you've been feeling it this year, you're part of the club. Like, this is happening. It's real, but we're really hoping next year is a turn for the better.
Well, and it's kind of it's a third year almost in a row of being difficult.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, and I want to say for like home sellers, let's talk about sellers and buyers too, because like this year was, I would say, an interesting year for sellers because you had it was like no one or two transactions were the same. It was like this one, I totally would guess that this would have happened and didn't. And then this one I thought was going to it was going to go slow and ended up selling really quick. And it was like such a unique kind of all over the map, like couldn't quite put your finger on it, like why buyers were acting a certain way and why certain houses were just off the market immediately. And some were like, okay, this has been a month now and we feel like we were priced really competitively.
I think that's like feeling the volatility.
Yeah.
Whereas when you look at like interest rates, like really hoping, getting a little bit of hope and people are like, waiting for those things. Like our behavior is volatile to match. It was
100% following like people's behaviors based off election, based off interest rates, based off fears, based off expectations. I mean, it was all over the place. So
yeah. And even, since the election, I know a lot of people, you look at data week of, no one did anything that week, but there was a thought, I think, of the market kind of coming back to life more after the election and quicker, and it just hasn't exactly happened that way.
I read something, or I heard something. I should be careful. I might have heard this. That it's different for blue states too, though. That blue states, it was going to take a little bit longer. So maybe nationally, yes, but locally, because we are in a blue state, it could take. They said like 6 to 8 weeks to start seeing that.
We are in a blue state, and we're like in the blue county too.
The bluiest blue. Yeah.
Bluey's a great show too. Just shout out to Bluey.
Shout out.
Just fantastic.
We're gonna have
It's
to
good
reel
stuff.
him in this time.
No,
I
let
can
him
feel
go.
it. I
Let
can
him off the
tell.
leash.
We're gonna go. We're gonna have some fun.
Okay, so yeah, I think emotionally it was another tough year for the industry, and I think but the rose-colored glasses comment is a good one because, I mean, working with you and Jeff is like my favorite thing in the world. So I come to work pretty energized, and we've been working a lot on the business and creating value proposition, all this kind of stuff that for me is so fun, and I think it's going to become more and more important the further down the road we get. So I'm really encouraged and excited. Yeah, transaction volume is down. We did really well this year.
We did.
Thanks to our amazing community and working on the business a lot, which we're going to be announcing some more stuff after the first of the year. So I don't know. I'm really excited. Yeah, I don't want to take away from it being very difficult, but
For Landmark, it was a good
Landmark is a really good year. Yeah.
That's good. That's something to celebrate for sure.
We were
Totally.
stoked.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the joke for me was with the election was like half the country is going to be really happy with the election and get off and go ahead and buy get off the couch, get off the thing, the couch, and go buy
Reel 'em in.
Reel 'em in.
Really
Start the reel. Start the
lots of
Careful about how
caffeine.
you finish that sentence.
Yeah. And then the other half would be disappointed.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, like you're saying, it's like, it hasn't really changed either way.
Right.
It was the joke sucked because it didn't land.
So yeah. That's the thing about jokes.
They have to
You okay,
land.
Bob?
They have to land.
The thing is, without getting too far into 2025, a lot of like economists and people feel like a Trump presidency will lend itself more towards inflation, which could be detrimental to interest rates. So we'll have to see how all that kind of plays out. But how about we should go through some numbers?
Yeah,
Just to
sure.
give, not
yeah,
that
I've got
peop-
some great numbers.
It's
right here.
it's hard to. Are they real? Are they?
These are real for our county. I mean, we can go. Why don't you start off high level?
Okay, I'll start off high level. So let's just talk because Bobby mentioned transactions. This is the number of transactions, which I understand like buyers and sellers care more about sales prices and interest rates and all that kind of stuff. But transactions are really important too, especially for the industry and the economy. So in 2024, this is year to date. It's December 9th at the time we're recording this. So the year's not over with, but I don't think it changes the story much. We had 2,466 transactions in the county, SLO County. So that is a 33% reduction from 2019, which was kind of our last sort of normal-ish year before COVID and all that kind of stuff. So transactions are down. When you look at 2023, last year, we had 2,228 transactions. So we're up a little bit by a couple hundred year over year.
Moving in the right direction.
Yeah, we're moving in the right direction. But that's that.
I immediately want to stop talking when I see you're going to move the camera. I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Wizard
on
of
me.
Oz.
It's
I'm
okay.
like controlling the cameras too.
Yeah.
So
He is the wizard.
okay. So that's transactions. They're down. Look at median sales price. So in 2024 year to date, $853,000 median sales price. So that is a 42% increase since 2019. So it's about
Wow.
8% a year. And we can talk, it's wild because I think you'd think that with transactions down, prices would go down, and with interest rates high and affordability down, prices would go down. It's just not, it hasn't
we
happened.
haven't seen
Why do
that
you
at
think, Jeff? Why is that? A wise one?
A wise one. I mean, the systemic problem is that we just don't have enough supply for the demand that there is. So it's just always going to be an issue. In our area especially, there's just not enough supply.
Yep.
And then I think also there's just not that many transactions. So the buyer, or not many houses for sale. So the buyers are like, hey, what do I do with, like, all I have is these 3 options, and there's a bunch of other people that want those 3 options. So it just keeps the prices high. I think if there was a big flood of inventory, I think for sure prices would drop.
That's the only thing I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it just would drop. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's no world in which that's.
Yeah, it's not like a factory. You just print out, pop out houses. It just doesn't happen. So
Well, that's, in terms of higher interest rates, one of the only kind of silver linings is that inventory can build. I was listening to Mike Simonson, who is with Altos Research, and he predicts that it'll take like 2 or 3 more years of higher interest rates to get anywhere near kind of a normal inventory level. So, with interest rates higher, affordability's down. So you have, it's like holding costs, all these kinds of things play into it. But that is the nice thing, is that inventory can slowly build year over year with higher interest rates. But yeah, the amount it would take to have an impact on prices, I just don't see us getting there.
Not locally.
No,
maybe on a national level, but locally the demand is just way too high.
Yeah. Yep. What were you going to share, Jeff? So we know transactions are down, prices are up.
Prices are up, yeah. I mean, a little bit more positive for our county, right? So last year, 2023, there's 330 transactions that occurred in November. And this year we're at 390. So that's like an extra 60. It's a large percentage, so that's encouraging. And I would say like overall from last year, I don't have the exact average here, but just looking at last year to this year, I'd say we've done definitely more transactions in the county than last year, probably maybe 8%, 10%, somewhere in there, just looking at it. And it's interesting because we felt like there's a bit more inventory for people to choose from, which was nice. And I think as realtors, there's a lot less, realtors in the industry right now. So I think we're also seeing that where it's like the 20% are starting to do, more transactions.
What do you think, Jeff? Sorry, I didn't prep you for this question, but you'll know. What kinds of buyers are buying homes or bought homes in 2024? Because I was surprised by what I think happened.
Well, I mean, it's like all over the map, but there's a lot for us, a lot of first-time home buyers.
That's what I was getting at.
That is surprising. Yeah.
Because
it was odd.
Because that's not true across the state. Like, that's less and less of that happened this last year, like in numbers. So that says a lot if you guys were able to help first-time home buyers.
We did.
Last year.
We helped a lot.
Yeah, I think I noticed, at least for us, the investor side was down. It's hard to make the math pencil out, from an investment side. But for those folks who were looking at, primary residence, first-time home buyers, we helped a lot of those.
I'm sure we bucked the trend on that one because, and our referral network is we're very positive on like the market, and a lot of people are down, and like the people we talk to about real estate, we're really positive on. It's always been a great vehicle. And then to get your feet into it and like having, I think, tougher conversations too. It's like, we're really good at those conversations. Like, hey, like it's not going to be exactly what you want as a first-time home buyer. Yeah. Just isn't. But 2 to 3 years down the road, you use this as the tool to get exactly what you want or close to it. Mm-hmm. So that conversation we have a lot. Yeah.
And I think home buyers, first time especially, are the educated ones, are realizing, what will probably happen is homes will continue to appreciate the longer I wait. Mm-hmm. And if rates aren't going to go down dramatically in the next year or two, which we'll talk about, if I can afford it now, what's the point in waiting? And so that's, I think, been part of it. And our other thing is I just think our home hunter program, it's like that just works. So I think between educated home buyers and the programs that we run, it's created success for us. Definitely. So what were you going to say, Bob?
Well, educated is a big piece of that, because I think I was reading something about how the millennials, like the purchase power has gone down like crazy. These, like the younger generations, I know I'm not a younger generation, but kids these days aren't seeing the value, and they aren't purchasing homes. It's a lot of older people right now who are holding real estate, and like the baby boomers. So they're not making that jump, which could significantly impact their ability to gain wealth in the future. And we were talking about different reasons why that might be happening. And I think a huge piece of it is like, where are you going for your education on what this can do in your life and how this looks? And I feel like now with like TikTok and all this kind of like crummy news out there, like they're not getting actual guidance from people who have been through it, who can actually tell you like what this can do for your life. So that's amazing to hear.
Yeah, if your influencer is younger than you, maybe don't listen.
There's a lot of noise in the system.
Yeah, and it's not easy. And so, if it was easy, everybody would do it, but it's a worthwhile venture for sure. So
yeah, totally. Okay, I would love to kind of talk about what you guys think might happen next year, but anything more you want to share about this year, Jeffy?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we came back from, just looking at closed sides. So the way we look at things in real estate is like closed sides would be like buyer and seller. So at the beginning of this year, it was like 336 in January, 376, and they kept on climbing, right? So we really, when we got to March, 446, that's when our business was like, whoa, we're feeling, and this is where we started getting excited. Like Bobby was hinting at, we had these kind of like things that we were like, oh, we're getting excited about it. and it increased in San Luis Obispo County, kept on going up to almost 500 in July, which is like the normal summer cycle. Then it dropped quite a bit down in September to 436. And then again, up again to almost 500 in October, which is always surprising to have a good October. In Keller Williams, we had a fantastic October. It was one of the best.
October.
Yeah, October was really great. It's all positive news, lots of closings. We were excited about it. All of our team members were doing really great. And then in November, it dropped down to 390. So that was a pretty big drop from 500 to 390. It's about 110 less.
Which you'd think is seasonal, right? And that's going to happen?
Yeah, it just depends.
Well, look, okay, so this is maybe surprising for people, but our December, which the numbers aren't posted yet, this is our best month.
This is
going to be one of top two or three of the entire year
for us.
Will be December,
wow.
Which is like, you might not expect it because you'd think it's slowing down, and maybe for a lot of people it has, but it's just not been our experience. We've had a really busy kind of November, December.
Yeah, no, we feel very fortunate, and it is because of all of our listeners and our supporters that have given us lots of great referrals. We'll see what the rest of the industry does in December. So So next year, 2025, I think honestly, it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I think the same thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Gosh, you're a bummer. Let's start over.
For the purpose of planning and actually, we would love to be pleasantly surprised, right? But I think for the purpose of making decisions that are going to impact us, we have to plan for it to be more of the same.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And what does that mean?
Oh, so it means that inventory will likely, I think, grow very marginally. I think we'll see a little bit more inventory, but not much, and not enough to probably make a difference, especially on home prices.
Yep.
I think home prices will increase single digit.
Yeah, 1 to 3%, maybe.
Something like that. I think they will probably appreciate, though. I think interest rates. I think we're gonna stay the same,
or maybe
down.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it'll get. What are we around 7?
If
at the time we're recording?
If inflation goes
up, rates will go up.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the caveat. But I think the general consensus is they won't go down much for the next year. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I've heard there was so much promise that they were going to come down, but I'm kind of I no longer want to be in the business of guessing. I'm back to the conversation of what works for you now has to be this is the climate we're in right now. It doesn't serve anyone holding out for what could possibly happen, because if we've learned anything, it's that we don't have a freaking clue what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, especially with interest rates, even the top experts say they hate and get it wrong all the time. It's awful predicting interest rates. There's just so much volatility. But I mean, you could talk about what market conditions would need to exist in order for rates to come down. Right. That we could talk about. It's probably boring for most people,
and this is the first time in history where interest rates actually dictated pricing and what's happening in the market. We haven't ever had it. We're so dependent on interest rates. So it's it's just, you can really see it. You can look at the interest rate, influx of interest, and then all of a sudden the housing house closings drops.
Yeah.
So you just see it happen.
Yeah. It's too recent of a memory that it was so low. Cause it is funny. You talk to I remember talking to my dad, and the first house they bought was 18%. And he was stoked.
Yeah.
We got a house.
Totally fine. Cause they got a house. Exactly. And it's just not the conversations we're having now. We all remember that 2-3, point. You got to kind of forget it.
Got to forget it.
It's not coming back. Sorry.
It just is what it is. It's I think
guys, but 7's not, if you look at history, that's what's funny is we're all it's not a terrible place to be.
It's tough. I hear what you're saying. It's tough when, the median home price is $850 and you have a 7% interest rate. It just helps.
This is what hit home for me the other day. And I was like, it is really tough. We have some dear new clients, and I was like, this is crazy. So they've saved $50K, and they make really good money. To me, it's really good money, $150K a year. And so it's we have this really positive conversation and everything, and then they have good credit, and they go get pre-qualified, and with that savings and that income, they were only able to qualify to 400, and you're just
what is
and
that?
There's nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just that's a good job and good income, and everything kind of checked the boxes.
That American dream thing that it's where did it go?
Yeah, where's the so this kid's got to get an infusion of money, lots of money somehow to be able to buy, or his wife who's taking care of kids has to go back to work.
Yeah.
And just like, that's not cool.
Yeah, well, I think you're right, Bobby. It does go back to, well, what does your situation look like now? Does it make sense for you now? I mean, it's kind of one of those things where if you look at it like I'm starting a business or I'm investing in anything, you run the math, and if the math works, it's like it is an investment, but there's always risk in an investment. And so when you're buying a house, you can look at it like that, check out how the math pencils. And then if it makes sense for you and you want to do it, accepting whatever risk, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, and you do it, then that's great. And you have the added advantage that you can live in it.
Yeah.
And it's tax benefits and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, the leverage too. I mean,
yeah,
so like my suggestion to them is like, if you could get a gift to help out a little bit, that'd be amazing. Because every gift that's added adds directly to like what you can afford. Mm-hmm. That'd be fantastic. And that could be paid back, that could be a gift that gets paid back with some interest later on once you sell the house, because the houses typically appreciate. Mm-hmm. So that's an option. The other thing is like, okay, so buy maybe the thing that you didn't really want to buy, the house you didn't really want to buy, and put the sweat equity into it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, to be fair, I did the exact same thing when I bought my first house for $250. I put a ton of sweat equity into it. I was freaking out about the mortgage, and it was very similar feeling.
Yeah.
And it was a very small house. It was like 800 square feet. By no means the perfect ideal American dream house. So like you do that, and then you step up. But anyway, I digress. That's, I think that's kind of the reality of where we're at in 2025 is like first time home buyers, like you need to be coached in that direction to be able to buy your first house and get in the game. And then I think the rest of the families that are in it, I think a lot of them are seeing like, hey, the only way for my kids, like the whole like wait to die thing, I think and give your inheritance is kind of over. I think parents are like, I want to help my kid now get into this game because that's going to be substantial for them because it's going to multiply their equity, going forward into the future. Mm-hmm. So they're deciding like, I want to help out. So the family thing has been really cool because there are families that have stepped in to help out, with what they can, 50, 100, whatever they can do. It's a big decision to do that.
Totally.
But it's a huge leg up in this kind of world we're living in.
It's true.
Yeah. So I guess the thing for buyers is if you can afford it now, knowing that, inventory, you might have more options, maybe a little, but prices will probably continue to go up and rates will be about the same. I think the variable there is that appreciation. So if homes are probably going to cost more, it might cost you to wait. I know it sounds like more biased, but I'm just saying that's just the reality of like the numbers as we understand them today.
Yeah, I mean, this is like if I had a kid that was in, let's say 25 and they're at 50K, just use that same kind of scenario. And this is the year to buy. I'd say, hey, either we help you out. And if we can't, what I'd be saying is like, okay, aggressively save. Mm-hmm. Because 1% to 3% appreciation, if that's what happens, we don't know what will happen. But if that's all that it is, on a let's say $700K house, that's like $7,000, right? So, like you can outsave that this year. Whereas 2 years ago, that 25% appreciation, you can't outsave it. It's like just get in the market. So it's a little bit different advice from like a parent perspective.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like, you can aggressively save and outpace appreciation this year. I wouldn't put any money in 401ks anywhere else. I would just be like all towards that house. People are always like, I want to give to my 401k and all these things. And then they're like, well, you're not, the goal is to get you into the house. So you start having that appreciation. Mm-hmm. So
what about sellers? I feel like our answer.
I'm not a financial planner or advisor. Blah, 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 blah.
We take no responsibility.
Yeah.
Any advice.
Well, and I think we're usually our answer, which might be frustrating for people, is it just depends. But for sellers, we were just talking about this in terms of, when we go out and have listing presentations, it's like we always start with the why. Why are we here talking about this? Why are you considering selling your home? What are your goals? Like, let's talk about that first, and then we'll decide with you if selling makes sense, because it might not, or it might. Right. But I think it just, again, it depends on what your goals are as a seller. But what are we seeing from a selling side? What types of sellers are selling?
Yeah, it's almost like 90% have to sells. Like meaning,
interesting. Not like moving up,
not
expanding, just
very. Yeah, for us, there's been very little of that kind of move up. Mm-hmm. Because I think nationally too, people are just in a holding pattern, right?
I can't even think of the last one that was a move up. I think we have one client right now that's a move up.
That does make sense.
It's like,
For the climate we're in.
Yeah, it's
just
mostly
90% is significant. Yeah.
So that means, what does a have to sell? It means like someone like died and you got to settle the estate.
Or you just really like to, why hold it?
Yeah, why hold it? Yeah. Divorce is a lot of times a have to sell. Job loss is a have to sell. The move up would be more like, we've got another kid, now we want to move up. So that we're not seeing a lot of that. Really, almost
might not for a little while.
Yeah.
That's kind of a luxury. It's like you own the home, you're getting by, right?
Yeah, it is a luxury owning the home right now. If you own a house, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Yeah.
Because you're not in this battle of trying to get one.
Well, guys, I mean,
That was fun.
it just is the reality.
The reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want
It's
to
hard
add?
to take you seriously in the llama sweater. I'm not gonna lie. Just like straight faced. That is the reality.
Faced llama.
As our friend Elena says, fa la 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 llama.
You know, this is the thing.
Like, that reminds me.
This reminds me of. I mean, it's kind
a
of
story comes to mind.
It reminds me of, this was a hard podcast to hear if you're wanting to buy a house. And I think it's like, just don't give up yet. Like, sit down with your professional and your financial planner and your family and like try to work it out.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of hope out there, and there's programs. I think there's be more programs, and there's some sellers that will participate. There's some things that can happen.
Yeah.
So
It's
anyway.
a great place to end. Thanks
I
for
like
the
it.
encouraging
Don't
words,
give up.
Senor Guapo.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Cool. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.